Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today. Many of us on both sides of the aisle agree that one of the main challenges for sportsmen and other outdoor enthusiasts is a lack of adequate public access to some of the remarkable recreation areas within our national forests and other public lands. In fact, in the Wildlife Refuge, which is one of the things we're the most proud of, the ability to hunt has been one of the most emotional issues connected with it as we work through it. I'm grateful for the good work you and your colleagues at the Forest Service and your sister federal agencies do to provide many recreational opportunities for many of us, but obviously we've got to do more for hunting, fishing, and otherwise enjoying these special places. And I think it's good when in a bipartisan way we all talk about this. Sometimes people stereotype. Ms. Weldon, I note that the Sportsmen's legislation in the Senate includes a specific provision to secure additional public access through the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Can you share your views on the importance of LWCF to provide access and other resources our sportsmen depend upon, and why the administration's placed such a high priority on reauthorizing and funding it?
Yes, thank you very much for your question and for your support. LWCF is extremely important for the Forest Service in being able to sustain or create new access to our national forests and grasslands. For example, last year, or in 2014, we had 40 acquisitions that occurred under the program. In 39 of them, the highest priority driving the reasons for that was to secure public access for hunting, fishing, and for all recreational and access activities. So that's a primary driver. Closely behind that is the value and importance of us being able to use acquiring through LWCF public lands that improve our ability to conserve and create resilient landscapes for the long term. So it's very important.
Thank you. And I appreciate the concerns that the administration raises regarding legislative provisions in the discussion draft that would change existing law by taking federal managers out of the equation when it comes to some of the things people can and cannot do on federal lands. I believe it's critically important that we maximize reasonable, responsible recreation opportunities on public lands, and at the same time, I recognize that there's got to be a balance between those uses and the other imperatives your agency and others have to manage. Mr. Ellis, can you please tell us how some of those provisions that concern you might lead to potential conflicts among the public that might interfere with the ability of federal managers to strike the balance among competing uses or might frustrate implementation of federal management plans?
Well, as I indicated in my testimony, we are a multiple use and sustained deal, as Forest Service is, and we as a result, you always have competing uses, and whether it be recreation, whether it be providing quality wildlife habitat, whether it be providing the nation's energy needs, which we're proud of being part of that. And so one of the things that we do is we really have to balance all these things as we manage these lands, and also the publics that all these programs represent. That's not always easy. And one of the ways we do this is through this NEPA process, this National Environmental Policy Act process, where we have a proposed action that we're doing. Oftentimes the public helps us develop that. We engage the public in that, get their input, and develop various alternatives for threading that needle, for getting there, and eventually, at the end of the day, there's a decision that we issue that in many times is a compromise for all those things and finding that balance. And so it's important that this NEPA process that was established by Congress, the National Environmental Policy Act, that we keep that and we continue to use that law on the land to help us. That's the way the public helps our line officers work through these issues. So that's an important deal. We want to continue to provide quality experiences for hunters, fishermen on public lands. They love to go to public lands. And Americans love their public lands. They love to hunt, they love to fish, they love to, they take their ATVs or they ride their horses like me out there. They all do this. And we think that it's important, whatever legislation we have, that we continue to provide all these opportunities. It's a balancing act in many ways. Provide quality habitat for wildlife, healthy landscapes in the Great Basin. If we have all these things, we will have a game for sportsmen. We'll have a strong economy in the West. All these things will work together. We do.
It's not just the West.
Thank you.
Midwest
Thank-
and other places
thank you.
care
Other
deeply
places.
too.
Yes.
Dr. Benechek. Oh, pardon.